a law firm that comes to us, they have, they're earlier on in their marketing journey. They have about $10,000 a month in budget. And their main goal right now is, yes, they want to build brand and stuff like that, but they need cases in the door so that they can fund those things in the future. So right now, I don't care about building brand. I just need cases. Now, how are you deploying that across Google, LSAs, and Meta for this law firm? And let's say that this law firm is a
yeah, I mean, well, the good news is it's workers' comp, so we don't have as high CPCs as we do in MBA, so we can stretch those $10,000 out a little bit more. But I think it's a good combination of, let's assume they don't have any like real history, or maybe their campaigns have been run differently, so we have nothing to really go on. So I would create some campaigns in paid search all around workers' comp, exact in phrase, right, on our keyword match types. Like we want to keep it tight. We don't want Google stealing that money from us. And then on the LSA side, again, assuming new account or very limited data, we would just want to see how it would perform, right? So it's going to take a little bit of time for LSA to start to serve specifically for just workers' comp. And so maybe after 30 days, we'll have some data on both, and then we can decide, is paid search the next step that we want to, continue to push? Or how did those LSA leads? Maybe we should shift back to LSA. So I think that would be the initial approach as far as just like keeping it tight and just making sure that that $10,000 investment is spent as perfectly as possible. Daily, I don't know how you say it, but daily, like, look back at yesterday and the last 7 days. What did we do? Like, what is Google stealing? Are we getting the click-throughs? Are we getting the leads? So there's a lot of moving parts, but structurally, that's how we'd start.
And I think going back to the institutional knowledge and just having that in the initial setup is huge. And also some of the weird nuances on some of these platforms. So when you talked about LSAs, it reminded me of some things I worked on in the past for a couple law firms. And if you're trying to get workers' comp leads on Google LSA, there's a couple ways that you can select into it, because there isn't a job, a broad category for a workers' comp lawyer. There's personal injury and there's employment. And then under personal injury, there is a workers' comp job type that you can turn on. Under employment, there's also a workers' comp job type you can turn on. And the difference between them is if you have it on personal injury, if someone searches for work injury lawyer, you have the chance of showing up there, right? But a lot of people search, more often than not, search workers' comp lawyer. That's how, and the only way to get the LSA to show up for that is by turning it on under employment law. The problem is it could be the only thing you turn on under employment law, but now 9 out of 10 of your LSA leads are still going to be general employment law. There's just no way around it. But you will be probably one of the only ones showing up for a workers' comp lawyer in the LSAs, which is a win. And so then you're balancing out the operational aspect of, can my intake get these junk leads I know I'm going to get for employment without being bogged down? Do I have someone I can refer these out to in order to get that one workers' comp lead that becomes a case for me? Because the dollars do make sense. It's cheap enough for me to do it. And, I've done that for a law firm and unintentionally had us showing up like 8 times as the option in LSAs. And then we got in trouble for that. This was at a prior job. We got in trouble for that and had to turn it off.
So is that why that we have to do all these verifications now? Because you were over there getting us in trouble. You started that madness.
Well, the only people that were showing up for workers' comp, because I figured that out, were, at least in the markets that I was doing it in for this particular firm, were ones that I did. It was a couple firms that I consulted with prior to working for this other firm, and then the firm that I worked for. We were the only ones showing up. It was like no one had kind of figured it out. But again, you got to make sure that it works from an operational and intake standpoint.